You see how absurd the position is? This sort of Ayn Randian position of like, well, we're all individuals and taxation is wrong and collectivism is wrong. Yeah, but the only reason that today 99% of people are literate is because of public education, which is directly funded by taxation and which is a collectivist endeavor. School is a collective institution and its function is collectivist. The reason we have schools, the reason people are made literate is because that's helpful to the entire community that we're a part of. When our community is made up of a bunch of illiterate morons who can't add 1 + 1 together or who can't read a basic book, we all suffer for that. This is fundamentally what many libertarians don't understand because they're so bought into this philosophy of individualism that they treat individualism as an absolute good and they treat communalism as an absolute bad or collectivism as an absolute bad. This is so misguided. It's so dysfunctional. It's so unhealthy for you because it makes you like a cancer within your own community. We humans are a highly social communal species. We can only survive as a community. There was never a time in human history, not even 1 million years ago, where there weren't even barely humans, but there were our ape ancestors. Even back then, individual apes didn't survive, only in a community. Go look at how chimpanzees survive, only in a community. There's not a lot of individual rights and freedoms in a chimpanzee troop. There's actually order and hierarchy, precisely because it's necessary. There's certain implicit rules that need to be followed, certain laws, if you will, which make that troop function. It's a communal endeavor. So it's very important that you start to acknowledge that to yourself, that you're part of a community. And this community, it has its pros and cons. Stop looking at a community as just all the negative stuff. That's, I think, what a lot of libertarians and some conservatives who are very sort of like individualistic minded, they tend to forget how much benefit the community gives them, what it allows that couldn't otherwise be possible. And also there's a joy to being part of a community. A community gives you a sense of a larger meaning. You could, there's something you can work towards. There's perhaps a sense of national pride, although that's problematic. That gets us into nationalism. There can be tribal pride, of course, that gets us into tribalism. But still, there's a healthy form of national pride that you can have. You can have a pride in humanity. You can have a career that you work towards, helping mankind to achieve a certain goal. We can work together towards amazing things. But only if we're willing to make certain sacrifices. And part of the challenge of being born into the 21st century, into this sort of advanced state of society relative to where it was, let's say 100,000 years ago, part of the challenge is that you weren't really given an option. You were just born into this world, and you were immediately thrown into a collective, highly collective situation. And you were forced as a child, as a little baby, you were forced to deal with it. You were forced to learn how to communicate with others, how to have respect, not be rude to others, how to have manners, how to have etiquette, how to have what we call morals, how to, enforce your own boundaries, but also not let others step over your boundaries, how to be able to play with friends and how to work with coworkers and bosses and all of this stuff. And it's very challenging. It can be very frustrating. And hey, I'm a very individualistic-minded person. I don't like to really be part of collectives so much. But look, we have no choice. We have no choice. You are part of a collective no matter what. The only question is, are you going to be conscious of how collectives work? Are you going to make smart, intelligent choices? Are you going to be okay with certain restrictions? Because we're going to be making restrictions no matter what. Restrictions and laws and regulations will get made. The only question is, what kind will they be? And will they get us a net positive or a net negative? Regulation is not an absolute good or an absolute bad. It depends what kind it is.